Yo guys, Zakaragi here for a performance review for the Nike Sabrina 2s right here. So this is a very popular shoe amongst all basketball players right now. So are they really that good? Let's find out, but before we do, I need you guys to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a bunch and it helps me know that you want me to continue doing videos like this. So go ahead, drop a like and comment and subscribe if you're feeling so generous. But without further ado, let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. And starting with traction, I feel like these needed a little bit of breaking time for it to perform at their best, because at first, when I first got them and started playing them, just started seeing how they felt, the traction really wasn't impressing me all that much. Like, the bite that the shoes had felt kind of lackluster a bit, but the more I played in them, the better it got. So as it currently stands right now, the traction the way it is great. On clean courts, no problems at all, but on dusty courts is where you're gonna have most of your problems, because the shoes really do pick up a lot of dust, and I have a fully solid rubber outsole on my pair right here, and it still picks up a lot of dust, which is a little disappointing honestly, so I can imagine just how much more dust that those translucent pairs are gonna pick up. But regardless, they still perform well on the dustier courts, just a little bit inconsistent here and there, because there'll be times where before I even wipe any dust off, where I'm still stopping on a dime on change of direction moves or quick stops and whatnot, but there'll be times like after I wipe dust off where I'm sliding out a little bit, the shoes give out, and I don't have that perfect grip. So yes, the traction on this shoe is one of the standout features, absolutely, but for me personally, I don't feel like it's as good as some shoes out there that I've tried, where I just know I'm fully confident that I can do anything I can want to do at that moment. So I'm going to give the traction still a good score, a good rating, but if you do plan on buying these, just keep in mind, be careful in those dustier courts, make sure you wipe off dust consistently. Also, if you do plan on playing outdoors, it could be a decent option just because the rubber compound on the shoes does feel a little bit tougher, honestly, but I'd recommend getting the EP version, which is dedicated for outdoor play. That way your shoes can last a little bit longer. Now, compared to the Sabrina 1s though, as far as the traction performance goes, it's more or less the same, honestly. I don't think the difference is anything crazy. If anything, these guys right here are slightly better once broken in, but that difference is negligible, to be honest. So when it comes to the cushion setup for the Sabrina 2s, what we have here is a combination of Cushionlon 3.0 foam in the midsole, and then we do have a zoom unit in the forefoot as well. So it's more or less the same as the Sabrina 1s. They just swap out the React midsole that the Sabrina 1s had for the Cushionlon midsole instead. So what you're getting out of this cushion setup is a low to the ground feel with great court feel. You're also getting some nice responsiveness from that zoom unit in the forefoot. I wouldn't say they're very bouncy, but definitely responsive. And then you're also getting some decent impact protection. That aspect of the shoe could be better, but you really can't ask for much being how low to the ground you are with these shoes. So when I was jumping up and down or landing from any sort of rebound or whatnot, or from jumping up high for something, I could definitely feel the impact a lot more than I could with other shoes. But when I did land, I felt it primarily like in my heels a little bit, or a bit in the forefoot, but it did cushion the overall impact decently well. So if you do need more impact protection from these and you really want to try them, I'd highly recommend switching out the insole for something else that's a little more cushioned. That way it helps you out a little bit more on that respect. But these shoes are definitely catered towards guards, or just anyone that wants to be light on their feet and have a setup that is quick and low to the ground, really. But directly comparing this to the Sabrina 1s, these are slightly improved in my opinion, because you are getting a bit better impact protection and they're slightly more responsive in the forefoot as well. But both setups are very reminiscent of these guys right here, the Nike Kobe 5, but these guys are just much better than those guys in my opinion. Okay, so diving into the materials, and it's my least favorite feature about these shoes, because this is where I feel like the Sabrina 2s take a step back from the Sabrina 1s. So I don't know why Nike decided to do this, but the materials on the Sabrina 2s just feel so cheap and flimsy in hand, whereas the Sabrina 1s didn't feel that way at all. So what's featured on the Sabrina 2s is pretty much just textile, honestly. There's parts of it where it's a little bit thicker and a little bit more strengthened up for durability reasons, and there's parts of it where it's a little bit more thinner for breathability purposes. So on those thinner parts though, I did see that a lot of my friends actually experienced this, and people online have had durability issues where the shoes would actually start ripping And honestly, I didn't have that problem at all with the Sabrina ones, so I don't know why Nike decided to go with this cheaper material setup where they could have actually just kept the same thing as the Sabrina ones and kept that whole thing going on. But it is what it is at this point, I guess. But what you're getting out of this material setup is no break-in time at all. They're good to go right out the box. They are still fairly comfortable all in all. There's a decent amount of padding within the shoes, but I will say that it is a little bit roomy in the toe box area. I do feel a little bit of dead space within there. Now, I don't know if that affects any of you out there. For me personally, I don't care, but I can definitely see it, and I don't really feel it all that much though. Now, when it comes to the lockdown and support of the shoes, once you lace these guys up, they do a great job of hugging and securing your foot into place. So you'll notice on the sides of the shoe poking out through these side panels right here, we do have these lockdown flaps on both sides of the shoe. These do a really good job of hugging your foot like this once you lace them up, really ensuring that your foot is attached to the footbed and it's pushed back against this heel counter so it's not moving at all within the shoes. I definitely felt that, and it felt great because I knew that the shoes were sort of holding my foot into place. I didn't really feel unsafe at all, and I didn't feel any sort of heel slippage either. It was awesome. So when it comes to the support for these guys, we do have this internal heel counter back here that does feel very sturdy and really help with the heel containment. And then we also do have this midfoot shank plate right here. So it is made of TPU and it doesn't extend very far within the shoes, but it still gets the job done with giving these guys good torsional support and rigidity. And that really helps with kind of preventing injuries because your foot really won't flex in weird ways that it shouldn't, which would cause injury in the first place. And they also give you some nice diving board effect when you are playing in them. So when you load up into this shank plate, it will spring you back a little bit. So you're getting some nice energy return from that regard, which I definitely felt when I was playing in them. That sort of adds onto the responsiveness you get from the zoom unit in the forefoot. And then I do want to point out that you are sitting within this midsole, so it does cradle your foot. So on those side-to-side movements, it helps with protecting your foot so the lateral containment is good. And then we do have this wide base right here with this very exaggerated outrigger on the side. It gives the shoes great stability. So all in all, the support in the shoe is very solid. It should work for most players and most playing styles, but if you really want a lot of support from your shoes, then these are not the shoes to get because this is more of a guard shoe for guys who don't really need a whole lot of support but still offer a good amount. And then when it comes to the sizing and fit for these guys, they have a pretty standard fit, if anything slightly more narrow. So I'd recommend going true to size. That's what I did, and I had no problems at all. I got my usual size 10 or size 10 equivalent, being that these come in women's sizing, and I didn't really have any problems. I have a good amount of space in the toe box area where my toes are at. I'll show a B-roll shot of that because I really don't like it when my toes are at the very end of a shoe. I don't like it when I can feel my toes stubbing against the end when I do hard stops and whatnot. So if you are a wide footer, I would recommend going a half size up, but this is definitely a shoe to try on first if you want to grab a pair of them. But overall, this is a great follow-up to the Sabrina ones. They've definitely improved, and I can understand why this is such a popular shoe amongst all the basketball players right now. Me personally, this is my favorite shoe that Nike has to offer out of all their basketball shoes right now, so that really says a lot. And I really do appreciate the fact that it's a great alternative to the Kobe 5, so if you can't grab a pair of these, no worries, you can grab a pair of Sabrina 2s, and they'll more or less play the same as these guys right here. So comment down below and let me know what you think about these shoes, and if you've played in them, share your experience with everyone in the comments down below. But we're at that point in the video now, y'all know what time it is. It's time for hashtag Zacharagi, what you rockin'. And for today, I got a big classic right here. Woo-wee! Look at these guys. So this is the Nike LeBron 10. They don't make them like this anymore, I'll tell you that much. These guys are stupid comfy. Like, guys, look at this. Such a beautiful shoe right here. But that is it for today, guys. I hope you all have a good one. I'm signing out. Peace.